Ladies and gentlemen, we are extremely excited for today's episode. We have a badass little ensemble today, now with more diversity.
Hey, we got some color on the show, guys. Welcome to American Grit.
The only color I see is red, white, and blue.
Couldn't tell.
So joining us today, we have JD. You know him, you love him. He's been here for a while. We got Uncle Slam coming out of retirement.
Howdy.
Actually, I think that's more of the court-mandated treatment program is why you're back now.
Well, I can't speak on open legal matters, Dan.
Is he coming out, or is HR just on vacation? And he's
I don't know. Let's avoid like the plague. And then Marine veteran, pro wrestling champion, Steve Maclin. How the hell are you?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me. And this is
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Excited.
Yeah. So we have the unique distinction of everyone at the table being veterans.
Yeah.
We've all spent our time snooping and pooping and doing various things.
multiple times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clapping commies.
And so just to kind of go around the table a little bit for everybody who doesn't know, Steve, can you tell us what you did in the military and how you got to where you are now?
United States Marine. I served, kill, semper, yut, more. We can say more and more.
Gung-ho.
This is not the entire show, by the way.
No.
Ton Tavern.
Yeah, we'll keep going.
Can you imagine? Hold up. Can you imagine Uncle Slam and Steve fighting in Ton Tavern?
I think that's the only place we should be allowed
should
to fight.
if anything, we'll get back to what I did in the Marine Corps, but if we did fight on a location where the actual original Ton Tavern is like in the middle of the highway, just a street sign, that's where we should fight.
What if we did it at Gettysburg?
But we got to do an address before it.
I don't like dresses. I don't fill them out very well.
You look great in a coat.
You feel like those silky's pretty good, though.
Well.
Yeah, can you go peek at the whole outfit?
Yeah, you want the whole thing?
Yeah,
Give him the bulge. Give him the battle of the bulge right there.
Yes.
Look at that.
That's true American grit right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Uncle Slam is always packing. You never know when you're going to need it, kids.
Yep.
That's why they send people to jungle training.
Right.
Jungle down there.
Speaking of training,
So, yes, I was with 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines. I was a corporal in the United States Marine Corps. Both my tours were to Afghanistan, 2009, Helmand Province, Operation Gajari, and then in 2011 in Marja.
Nice.
I was an 0331 machine gunner, so accuracy
up.
by volume, guns up, goons up. And, I don't regret a single damn thing that I did.
hell yeah.
There are a few things that I regret, so I'm happy to have.
I'm glad we didn't have cell phones back then. That's the one thing. If not having cell phones is a regret and also a good thing to not have.
Do you remember that TikTok of that Marine and his wife embarrassing him? That's what.
Oh, God.
If y'all had.
Oh no!
Uncle Slam would never let that happen.
You could see the light in that man's eyes was gone. He was just like, there's too much alimony and child support at stake here for me to not cooperate.
Cheaper to keep her, you know.
Just don't move. Just don't move. It'll be over.
He's like, spirit discipline. Uncle Slam, could you tell us a little bit about your origin?
Oh, well, what's there to say, Dan? Uncle Slam has made a career out of killing commies since the beginning of time, and I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm going to keep doing it until they force me to stop, and then guess what? I'm going to keep killing commies because my belief is the only good commie is a dead commie. So, commie bastard, I know you're out there watching this. I'm coming for you.
It's a good promo. First question, Uncle Slam.
Yeah.
What's up, champ?
Is this guy located in Division 1, 4? What you got here? Can you talk about the merchandise a little bit?
This is Division 4 Tailgate champ from the San Antonio Corporate Cup. 2 years in a row, undefeated, double champ. But all the rest of my belts were at the belt cleaners, so I couldn't bring them today.
That's fair.
What does the tailgating champ entail? What did you have to do to earn those titles?
Well, I was handling a lot of meat, Steve. I was manning the grill. I was handing out drinks, keeping everybody hydrated and fed, which anybody that's been to combat knows that's the most important part is making sure you're hydrated, fed, and ready to go out and win. And that's where I take my most pride.
What kind of meat did you handle?
All the meat, Steve, all the meat.
What kind of, like, brats?
Wieners, burgers, brats.
Two hands, one hand?
Well, you always two-hand it when you got brats.
Kielbasa's?
Some kielbasa.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Figure the kill.
It's a little German for me, but
That's good segue.
Yeah, thank you.
German.
It's very kosher.
yeah.
Does anybody
I
want
don't
to
even
take
like
bets?
Polish sausages because they surrender every time I look at them.
Did anybody take any bets on what Uncle Slam's MOS was?
The best goddamn MOS in the Army, Daniel, 11 Bravo.
11 bang bang?
11B, because everybody else wants to be an 11B. So
Okay. So
Why
you
the fuck
be
did
all
I
you
s-
can be.
Why did I sign up for this?
be all you can be. That's pretty
Be
smart for a
all you
Marine. I
can.
like
know.
that.
Yo,
It's
I'm
not
the,
just about crayons.
Yeah.
I'm the only pogue on this fucking show.
Yeah,
Goddamn
wow.
right you are.
And see what I love about the various
Fuck
MOSs
y'all set me up.
is when they add combat to the beginning of the MOS. What was your MOS?
I hate y'all.
Go ahead and say it.
Combat camera, right?
Say it. Combat camera.
Comcam for short.
At least it was a combat male. Like
Combat
whenever-
supply.
Those Marines in what was it, Leatherneck, and they had like the unit shirt where it'd be like the devil dog with like the mail bag on one shoulder and the M16 in the other hand.
Yeah, not me.
Like that's bad, the combat male. Oh, rah.
Not me.
No?
I can't even follow Uncle Slam with my insert
You
fake
should have
combat
saved me
title.
for last, but
So I guess
That's
should I
what
go
she said.
last? And bullets don't fly without support or whatever they fucking say.
Yeah, but you shot a camera.
I did. I got a couple cameras shot at too. but I'm
well, I
thankful
also
for
appreciate you capturing all of my amazing kills while I was over there. Thank you.
that. Yeah, well, I mean, my job is to capture the body stacking. My job is to get you more funding, buddy.
I appreciate it.
So one of the things that I hear is the biggest point of frustration for anybody who's in combat camera stuff like that is when you get like a badass shot or you have like a lot of really cool footage and they're like, oh yeah, sorry, like this mission is classified or whatever, and then they just take your card.
So
Really?
yeah. Check this out, Steve. Think about the best match you've ever had.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I want to go back and watch. I think we talked about this before the show, talking about looking at your matches and all that. Imagine going across the curtain and the GM's like, hey, you can never see the footage again. But thanks for your service. Slap on the ass. See you at the next show. So
Sounds about right. though.
right, I would get back from mission and they would take the SD card immediately.
Green,
So
Green Weenie wins again.
Green weenie is sticking me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's common, man. I can tell you how many times I've driven by billboards and I'm like, yo, that's a cool picture. That was me. You never know.
Yep. So now that we've gotten introductions out the way,
Wait, what about you?
Yeah, who are you?
Yeah, you
are
gotta
you?
tell us about you.
so I was telling Steve about this earlier. I was an infantryman for 12 years, and I got my start in media because I would like Photoshop the KIA memorandum pictures for our unit. Like whenever we lose a guy, I'd go on like the government computer or Microsoft Paint and like get whatever picture from their MySpace, Facebook, dating myself, and I'd add the text like insert, excerpt, and then we'd wait the appropriate amount of time, and then we could post that and stuff. And that's actually how I learned to start doing graphic design. And
That is why he doesn't do it today.
yeah, that's why I don't do that as well. But that kind of segued into making memes and posts about the military. And it was kind of scary when you're sitting there, when you're about to get out, and you have to decide what you want to be when you grow up. You can no longer legally stack bodies, for a paycheck, or jump out of helicopters or go do badass
Kind of
stuff.
can I do. In a
Yeah, have you ever thought about wrestling, Dan?
And so
Is that
the
about
point
ultimate storytelling?
of today's episode is to talk about follow through, because whether it's committing to a move that you're doing while you're in the performance of your day-to-day activity, whether it's committing to a dream that you have that you want to follow as you're separating from the military, one thing that is consistent between the two is that you must have follow through, and it's generally the people who give up halfway through or get scared and don't fully commit are the ones that end up getting hurt, either physically or emotionally.
Yeah, I can attest to that too, because there was a time when I was with a said company before I got to TNA where I am at now, where I wanted to quit. I wanted it to be done. And then my tag partner at that time, Weston Blake, he kind of told me, he's like, just give it a few more months. Everything will kind of lay out. I'm like, all right, we'll see how it goes. We ended up started tagging, and that's when I started having fun. That's when we started having success. And that, again, it's that follow through. It's just pushing through that rough patch, and it's just setting those goals daily that you can do to just push through things that you can get anything done, whether it's in a wrestling ring, being a 4-time division meat handler, champion.
That sounded a little condescending there, Steve.
Well, you said you handled meat, so I'm just going that route.
Yeah.
We can discuss this later.
Over meat.
I didn't realize you wrestled for tits and ass either.
Thank you. See, that's a good segue there too. I know. But that's a good follow through. But yeah, it's finding just that purpose and what keeps you driving. And that's the one thing that I'm lucky enough to have is a drive of supportive people around me and my family, and that follow through that gets me through things. And things like that happen all the time though too, where you come back and footage is lost of matches. There's plenty of matches I've had where there's nothing out there and it sucks, but at least I know in my head what I learned and what I did wrong. And it's probably the same thing you did on deployments as well. Like what could have went bad or what could have been.
So y'all's job was to kick doors down. My job was to tell a story. right? And in wrestling, your job is to literally kick the other guy's head in, but you're telling a story at the same time. Right?
And then also safely kick a guy's head in. We're out there not to hurt each other, but we are hurting each other in a safe manner. And that's when it comes out to tactics of learning the basics from when you first get in a ring and you start training. It's the same when you first step on those yellow footprints at boot camp. You go right from the beginning of learning the basics and how to put your shoes on, how to put a blouse on properly, how to get changed again, how to make a bed, how to make your rack, how to just do everything. And it's the same thing in pro wrestling of learning how to get in a ring, out of a ring, just certain movements so that whenever things do go wrong or something happens in a ring, you have to fall back on your basics and what you learned from the beginning.
And Champ, can you attest to that?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm a little more advanced with some of the things I do, but the basics are always key.
You know,
Key.
I've realized that the Mill Vet, the Bro Vet podcast is the disabled veteran version of that, because when we bring people on here and you roast each other, like, you're not really trying to like end that man's soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Speak for yourself.
We're telling stories, and that's the one thing. It's a way to escape, and I think that's the one thing when I got out of the Marine Corps is finding somewhere to escape to a little bit and still have that same camaraderie I had in the Marine Corps of us being in the barracks or just being on deployment. Like, that was where we had fun. The barracks was the best life. I don't care what anybody says. The barracks life was the best life, and trying to move out of the barracks, the only reason everybody wanted to move out of barracks was to get away from inspections.
Yeah.
Just because you hated it. But I loved field day. I thought it was camaraderie.
I fucking hated my roommate, but that too. Yeah.
Well, then, you just got to shit into the deal, I guess, on that one.
We fought. We worked.
That's okay.
Yeah, and so one of the easiest ways to tell the difference between somebody who's a professional shooter and somebody who's an amateur shooter is when, you know, they're looking through the glass and they apply that slow, steady squeeze, you know, without skillfully manipulating the trigger, without disturbing the lay of the rifle, rah. And as soon as that round cracks, do they pull their head up and look downrange? No. And, you know, like when you're shooting from the camera, like you're looking for follow-on targets, you know, you're doing your thing. But that's one of the biggest ways that you could tell the difference is that follow-through. Because when I squeeze that trigger, I'm waiting for my body to settle. I'm giving that dedicated follow-through, as were some people who don't have that experience. They're immediately looking for the results. And so when you're getting out of the military, things may not go well for you immediately. It may take some time. It may take years. But the difference between people who regret getting out and people who are appreciative of their time, but they're glad that they got out, in my opinion, is the success that they found. And success means different things for different people. But if you get out of the military and you're not successful, you're going to look back and think those are the glory days. You're like, oh, I wish I was still in, blah, blah, blah. But if you get out and you find success, whatever that means to you, you'd be like, you know what, I wouldn't trade those days for anything, but like, this is where I am now. And I'm happy with that.
Would you say, I have questions. Would you say that, you're talking about follow through, right? Would you say that the Marine Corps kind of help you follow through in wrestling? Are there similarities? You talked about the yellow footsteps, you know, from Camp Pendleton to wrestling. Are there a lot of similarities between the Marine Corps and wrestling?
Yeah, very much so. Like I said, from Paris Island, I was a Paris Island Marine. I was a Hollywood Marine.
Oh, my bad.
It's okay. It's okay.
Are you a Hollywood
There's,
Marine?
Nope.
No.
Oh,
no.
shit.
Paris Island. We're,
Real infantry. I'm so blessed.
see, it's like the Pogue and Grunt thing there as well. It's the same thing with Hollywood and Paris Island.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We didn't go to baseball games during boot camp like those Marines did. So,
That's right.
But there's always going to be some type of gripe between everybody.
and I don't mean to cut you off, but have you seen those pictures?
No.
When they take the recruits to baseball games, there will be the entire stadium will be empty because say like the Padres sucked that season or whatever. They will still have the recruits in the fucking nosebleeds up in the corner.
That's
That's a good rib though. That's pretty good though. Still to keep that tradition.
That's
Let
a cute thing
let
for
everybody
the Marine
know.
Corps to do.
What's that?
JD, did you ever go to baseball games when you were in the basic training?
No.
No, I didn't either.
No,
Must
that's
be a
fine.
Marine
They
thing.
just have cell phones and you know
Yeah, get to
stuff
call
like that.
home.
Yeah.
Home.
That was
Uncle
weird.
Slam's
Hey,
home.
There were girls in my platoons. I win.
Good for you.
That's fair.
So you were saying?
So the similarities. Well, there's women in wrestling too, and in training as well. But no, just the similarities, just the camaraderie. It's the same thing in the locker room, and I have the conversation every now and then where it's like getting into a firefight. You train how to get into combat, how to load, unload, do all your checks on your conditions, everything you need to do, how to implement weapons, how to implement gun systems, and in training. And then once you actually have to go in theater, whether you're waiting for a build-up for it or you're just thrown in the deep end like we were talking before, you just have to be able to react and have to rely on your training. And it's the same in pro wrestling where you're going to go out there for those 5-10 minutes. You're going to dump that adrenaline dump in a match. and you could get time cut. Something could go wrong in the match. Someone could get hurt, and you have to adapt to it and figure out a way to get to the finish. So when you do come back through the curtain, you guys look at each other, you do a battle damage assessment, you look at each other, you're like, hey, are you good in here? You good in here? What happened here? What happened here? This is what we can do better. And then afterwards, you just go to the next town. And it's the same after a firefight. You're just moving on to the next village.
You know, one thing Uncle Slam wants to know is you get that adrenaline dump, right? And you're out there and you're doing all the things, but how do you deal with it when you come back from the firefight or from the wrestling match? And then how do you deal with that adrenaline dump afterwards?
So pre-match, I am puking my guts out. Usually in go position or in gorilla position is right by where you're about to go through the curtain. I've had this nervous tick growing up forever where I just throw up, just get this knot here. It happened to me in football grump. Never happened to me in the Marine Corps on deployments. But I'm puking my guts out. My anxiety is up. I'm just ready to go. Once I'm out the curtain, I am perfectly normal. And then once I come back through the curtain, I'm usually energized and that adrenaline dump is there. If it's a short match, I hate it because I want to just keep going. But if it was a lengthy 15 to 30-minute match or 45 minutes, I'm pretty much dead after that, and I'm ready to just go home. And I'd get to the hotel, try to get to your bed before your adrenaline crashes. If not, you're just going to be dead to the world. That's my experience.
Sounds about right.
How's your adrenaline dump after you're done handling?
Well, you know, usually I go out and I do my thing and I perform, and then I like to find the most beautiful women in the stadium, take them back and disappoint them for 45 seconds.
So once upon a time, Uncle Sam and I had a podcast in the safety brief. So
Oh, that's right.
if you can entertain Steve and learn him on the three L's, please.
So anytime Uncle Slam is going out, I'm looking for three things, and I like to call them the 3 L's.
The
Three L's.
3 L's.
3 L's, all right.
3 L's.
Army, and you're-
Uncle Slam's had some brain damage, okay?
It's okay.
TBI.
You might not believe it. Liquor, ladies, and low standards. And those things all usually work together.
Never disappointed.
And then you find those, and that's kind of the keys to the kingdom, you know? But, yeah.
And like you were saying, you gotta get to the bed before the adrenaline
Yeah.
crashes. Yeah, totally makes
Yeah.
sense.
You've got a very short window to hang out with Uncle Slam after a match.
Our Libo briefs are probably a lot different.
Yeah, probably a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if I could say some of the things that were said in our Libo briefs.
I'd like to keep my job, you know. So
Yeah,
like-
I won't say what was said back in 2007, 2008 timeframes.
yeah, before the cell phone.
Yes.
So you've been wrestling
12 years now. 12 years. I started wrestling in 2012. I got out of the Marine Corps November of 2011. I started at college at Rowan University, and then I had a few buddies on the independents that were like, come to a ring, just get in there. I was like, there's no possible way. I'm like, I'm not Hogan, I'm not The Rock size. You just think the bigger, larger-than-life characters, there's no possible way. I got into a ring and I fell in love. I was just like, this is cool. I loved it as a fan growing up, and I never thought it'd be something possible to be able to provide for my family. And I got a roof over my head, and bills are paid, and my wife and I are happy.
Was that something that the household did when you were little? Was there wrestling in the house?
Yeah, so it was a big wrestling household. So my parents both worked. My mom worked night shift as a nurse. My dad worked the day shift at Helmetica, doing prosthetics and working on one of the factory lines. And my grandparents worked there as well. But once they retired, it was just them mostly home. So we lived in a 3-story home. So my grandparents were home all the time. So my grandparents are the ones that introduced me to Roddy Piper, Andre the Giant,
Fuck yeah.
Ultimate
Good
Warrior.
job, grandparents.
And it's just like my grandmother and grandfather. My grandfather loved Andre. My grandmother loved Roddy. And that's just was my first love was Warrior, but I still loved Roddy Piper just because my grandmother. And then in came Bret Hart, and that stole mine. And then in came Austin, and that was the end of everything. Stone Cold took everything from it. My love for pro wrestling. That was my guy.
Did you celebrate 316 days?
Always, yes.
All right. So what's been? I mean, I have all the wrestlers. I have one more question.
Yeah.
Rebellion last year. So
Yes.
I'm a mark I follow. I'm a wrestling watcher. You ended up walking out of Rebellion with the champ. As
Yes.
the champ.
From
From transitioning as a Marine and being told thanks for your service to, hey, you're the top dog. That's a big fucking window.
from the letdown of when you get out of the Marine Corps and you get handed your DD-214 by a PFC that's just sitting there, and he goes, "Thanks, man." I'm like, "Cool, that's it.
Yeah.
This is it. Just you in this room. This is all we get."
Yep.
All right, cool.
Mine was missing the signature.
Was it?
Yeah, because you get that letter that says thank you from the President of the United States. Wrong president, didn't even have the signature on it.
Hell yeah.
That's
And-
cute that you got a letter.
What'd you
Did you
get?
get anything?
Yeah.
I mean, we're the
my
only
retirement
branch
We're the
that
only
the
Marines,
president
yeah.
can deploy without an act of Congress. So you see the amount of times that the president has just been like, hey, Marines, go kill something there.
Kill?
Yeah,
Is that where it
Senator.
comes from?
Yeah. Yut.
But yeah, no, I had a feeling that it was going to be like that. So I had like my digi backpack and I had it sitting outside. And as uneventful as that was, I was like, you know what? Let's make this a little bit more uneventful. And I changed out of my uniform right then and there, put on civilian attire, and just walked out. And all the people looking at me like, what's he doing in civvies at like 9 a.m., you know? And it's just like, can't say nothing to me. Like, I got my freedom papers right
You had to
here.
check out in your uniform?
Yeah.
I didn't. I was already gone. I was
Nice.
in civvies. PFC was there. I left and off base and drove straight back to New Jersey.
Were you on leave?
Technically, yeah.
Yeah, I was starting my terminal leave at that time, but they're like, no, you got to go there in uniform.
My terminal leave was, I had a backlog of so many dates of terminal leave just because it was great. And
Yeah.
so it was technically, I got out October, even though I was discharged November. So it was kind of nice.
Yeah, kind of nice. But no, back to what you're saying.
But yes.
Very uneventful.
Yeah, very uneventful, but then to just go into the wrestling world and take what I learned in the Marine Corps and just how to be patient, how to embrace the suck, and be able to just grind away. And for years, just with my time in one company and then treading water there, trying to make progress, and then getting to TNA, and then getting to something where I got to show them kind of the world who I really felt I was, and I was being able to do what I wanted to do for once, and then building to Rebellion last year against Kushida and winning the TNA world title was something really cool. And then even better was my wife winning it right after me on the women's side of things. So we both walked out double champions as a married couple, and it was kind of a really cool.
Same night?
Yeah,
that ever happened
same
before?
night. I don't know. I don't know if it did. I don't think it happened in TNA, and I don't think it's happened anywhere else really, other than. But I thought it was a pretty cool moment to have and pretty cool moment to share.
No, that's amazing.
fucking
Yeah.
wild.
And then here we are coming a year later, and I'm not even booked on the pay-per-view, but I'll be there. I will be there.
Nice transition. You want to talk about
Yes.
that pay-per-view?
So Rebellions again at the Palms. We were just at the Palms for Hard to Kill this past January for Hard to Kill in Las Vegas, and now we're here back for Rebellion again this year, and I'm excited for it just because it's Vegas. Vegas is cool. Vegas is a fun time. It's a rowdy crowd. You fit right into Vegas.
I love
atmosphere.
Vegas.
I'm sure they have a lot of meat tailgating.
Probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to them, but
Perhaps you could
Well-
find an aunt slam there.
ooh,
Oh, Uncle Slam is single.
Yeah, so you find an aunt slam.
Maybe. You never know.
Oh, aunt. You're saying aunt. I'm Latino, man. I know Tia.
Tia. Tia slam.
Tia, auntie, aunt, I don't know. Uncle Slam doesn't
Una,
discriminate.
una tia toma.
There you go.
Uncle Slam doesn't discriminate, so.
I would go as far as to say that Uncle Slam has a thing for Latinas.
He might. He lives in San Antonio, so.
Yeah.
That'll do
it.
A lot of good taco places here.
That's funny. So you go from, damn, you don't even have the show this year.
no, not as of now, but I will be there. My presence will be felt. I guarantee it.
So now let me ask you this: when you're coming up with your signature moves, right, like your finishers, stuff like that, how much input do you have into that? And is there anything that you want to do in the future, like anything specific that you're working on?
That we can test on Uncle Slam before you.
Yeah,
Well, Uncle Slam's got a great finisher, too, but we can't do that one live on the show.
like do you have a headspace and timing move?
No, so my main finish is called the KIA. It's a double arm DDT where I drop you on the top of your head.
Boom.
We have Caught in the Crosshairs, which is when you're trapped upside down in a tree of woe in the back corner, and I come in with a spear. You have the Scud Missile, is when I just let my body just do all the work, and I throw myself out of the ring to you. You'd probably like that.
I see ways to get out of all of these moves.
And what's another? There's a jar headbutt, which I do a headbutt
course
with the
there
top
is.
rope. This is all courtesy of our one announcer, Tom Hannafin there, giving me a lot of the segues to him just because his dad was a Marine as well. So it's just fun to have a lot of play on words in the veteran community there.
Nice.
To have that there. But no headspace and time, and I'll have to work on that. That's a good one.
Yeah, I feel like that could be like just like a kick in the groin.
Yeah. We're working a headlock.
Fucked up his headspace and timing.
Yeah. Or it's like kick in the groin and then it's the clap by the ears.
Oh,
really get
there
the
it
equilibrium.
is.
You get
that
the head.
freedom ring.
Yeah.
There's another one.
There you
See,
go.
Yeah, like we need TNA to come out with another video game, and then so that way we can have that.
you're
Oh, we
preaching to the choir.
We have lots of AI. We should just do like claymation.
If there was a video game, would you play with yourself?
I would play my
As yourself? or
daily.
with
Daily.
Potato, tomato, JD.
It's the same.
Treason.
I would definitely play with myself.
If you, I have a question, wrestling related, but not wrestling related. If you can wrestle anybody throughout time,
Throughout time.
think of all the military people we know, all the people you grow up. If you could wrestle anyone, you can be within the squirrel circle with anyone. Who would it be?
Chesty Puller.
With or without the seatbelt?
Oh, that was dark.
Too soon? No, I'm sorry.
I'd get Guadalcanal chesty puller.
Yeah. Very barrel chested individual.
Yeah. I don't know. It was funny in our barracks. My buddy Plutz had a picture of Chesty on the wall, and that was the only thing he had up in his wall. And it was like a nice framed picture of Chesty, and it's like all the boots would have to come in and praise Chesty, like it was Jesus at one
Have you
point.
been to Tim's office?
No, I have, but I probably didn't look around.
Before you walk out of the wall, there's a picture of Chesty. You have to acknowledge him before you leave the office.
I don't know. He's the. I don't know if you picture a Marine other than like a Bassalone or a Hathcock. Like that's just Chesty's the guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And you want to go up against him and try and get some.
Why not? Take
Uncle
down some.
Slam
Take
would
down
do-
some brass.
Uncle Slam will do Bin Laden so I can show him my finisher that's called the Patriot Missile.
Where does that go?
You don't want to know. Yeah.
Just like his origin, parts unknown.
Parts unknown.
Those would be one of my favorite things growing up when they'd like announce somebody, they're trying to make him hailing from parts unknown. And then like now you can Google him and he was from like Tulsa.
Yeah.
Well,
Nobody.
Tulsa is kind of parts unknown. Have you ever been there?
No, I haven't.
Not a lot going on.
Not a lot going on in Tulsa.
So we don't have too much more time, but I do want to ask if you could do any homage to anyone. Like if you had the opportunity during like a pay-per-view to do some sort of like tribute or homage to one of the people that you named or maybe someone you haven't talked about yet, like whether it's coming down from the rafters or, you know, having a certain entrance or whatever the case is, what would you want to do to pay tribute to somebody that you idolize?
Bagpipes like Piper,
Yeah.
but then have the Marine Corps hymn playing. I think that would be friggin' pretty badass.
I feel like we could find somebody in like the Marine Corps.
But
league.
then what make it even better is you ever see the movie The Warrior?
Yeah.
And when Tom Hardy's coming out, you have all the Marines sitting there singing the Marine Corps hymn as well.
Yeah.
Like I want anybody that I served with to be there, like kind of my boys from 2-8, and like that would be I can finish wrestling there.
I
That's
kind
the
of feel like
ultimate
that's not a
entrance.
big ask.
No, it's really
I feel
not.
like
That'd
most
be a
we know
big
enough
ask.
people. You guys trying to go to Vegas or what?
I mean, I'm down for that.
Uncle
Oh, wow,
Slam
so
loves
is-
Vegas.
Is a Pogue allowed to sing the Marine Corps? If you're,
I don't know. You were a combat camera. So my wife, to get back into the Pogue thing, my wife had to explain what a Pogue is and then what a Marine actually is and then being a grunt. So,
Thanks.
welcome. But it's just funny to try to like explain to her what this is. I'm like, but it's like, think of the guys behind the scenes that are doing the lighting, doing the camera setups and everything. I'm like, everybody equals this, but we're all going to give each other shit just because we're the ones going out doing the action.
Yeah.
So she's hilarious with it. She's like, imagine being in the band. I was like, oh, I know, babe. She's like, imagine being somebody in the band. I was like, yeah, what would you have done if I was in the Marine Corps band? She's like, I would have married you. I was like, I know.
That's a story for another episode.
It is.
That was supposed to be my first.
Was it?
All right. So
Oh,
glad we
let
like
me
each
just
other.
let me just put my flag in this. No
Yeah,
pun
that's
intended.
okay.
Who would have known Iwo happened if you weren't there?
that's
True.
fair.
Even though the second flag was staged.
It wasn't staged. It was a
Stage.
bigger
It's just-
flag.
Yeah,
It was staged.
Yeah.
It was
Hey,
just a bigger flag.
Repeat.
It was pro wrestling.
Oh, Jesus.
We have
All right.
come full circle, everybody.
All right, so now that we have like a minute and a half left before our time's up, I'd like to go around the horn, and if you could just give one piece of advice for any person out there who is sitting on the fence about following their dreams, what would that be?
Start with me. Go and do it. Worry about what you can control and only what you can control as an individual and not what everybody else is doing.
That's powerful. Have you ever thought about motivational speaking?
No?
No. Okay. Well, Uncle Slam's advice would be give it your best shot. Sometimes the things that we don't expect to go very far turn into amazing things. And no journey starts without the first step. So go do it and take that first step.
It's pretty good.
That's good.
It's good.
That's good.
Is that what you did with meat? Sorry.
It's the first touch, but potato, tomato.
That's the first seasoning.
Yeah.
First season.
Yeah.
You got to season that meat before you throw it on the grill.
I can't follow that. I don't know. One thing I always think of is so, like, sure, as a combat camera, we have a lot of different perspectives, but you got to think of the moments y'all are experiencing only happen once, right? So we have a thing that's like one shot, one kill, which for us means it's totally different to you guys because one shot. For us, it's like you get one opportunity to do your part, right? So you can't pass on. You get one shot. And most times you'll have more, but in that time, if you don't own up, you're gonna miss it, and someone else is gonna take it. I don't want that for anyone. I know that never happened to me. I learned that at an early age. I've had a lot of success because I've gone out and done it. I've had a lot of failures because I've gone out and done it, but it was all under my control. So
I have found out the hard way that a lot of times it's not how good you are at something or how much you know, it's who you know. And you mentioned earlier that it was some of your buddies who encouraged you to come do something that was outside of your comfort zone. And if I were to give anybody any advice, I'd say find out who you know that is already in that circle or adjacent or has some experience with that, and start there, because you can't leverage networks you're not a part of. And in today's society, I think we can all, find plenty of examples of nepotism and stuff like that. And so use every advantage at your disposal. And so if you already know somebody in that industry, start there. If not, make friends. Trying to do everything by yourself, whether it's getting to a new industry, mental health, whatever the case is, it's really hard to do anything by ourselves. And even people who make our living through entertainment and media and stuff like that, where would we be without the people who invented all the technologies that allow us to facilitate our trades and stuff? So nobody does anything alone. So anybody who out there is listening to this, you're not alone. There are people out there who will help you, and make friends. That's
how we met.
Yeah, exactly.
We met through mutual people through Tanner, and he's the one that got me through doing another podcast, and then we found out we both served in 2-8 together. So small world. Here we are.
Yeah. All right. Well, Steve, where can we find you online?
Steve Maclin at Instagram, on Twitter, on X. Still have that problem with that. And then Pro Wrestling Tees for Steve Maclin merch, and as well as TNA shop. And that's about it.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. Please tune in to our next episode of American Grit. Gentlemen, you got any last thoughts before we head out?
I'm gonna throw this to Uncle Slam. How you want to sign us out there, buddy? Your camera's over there.
Uncle Slam just wants to let everybody know, go out there, take a first step, be great, and God bless America.